her boobies out because, again, smart porkies.
Yeah. Fucking hits him over the head again, and I'm like, how does that logically... I don't know.
The chances of it are astronomical.
I'm pretty sure I don't know if it was written like this, but every time Jay and Bob are on doing one of these things, and even later on when they're running from LaForce, it's cartoon. It's a cartoon. Yeah, it's a Bugs Bunny Roadrunner cartoon.
Well, this is the start of them being cartoon characters, basically, because that's what they are going forward. Because, I mean, hell, you've seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Yeah. It's a cartoon. The whole movie is a live-action cartoon. Yeah. And it was written that way. And that's what they became. You know, like, basically, when they're not main characters, they are who they are. They're the comedic ninjas who come in, make a joke, and walk away. But when they're focal points, they become a cartoon. Like, if you, like, Clerks and Clerks 2, where they're not focal points, they come in, they make a joke, and then they're gone. You don't see them.
Chasing Amy, same thing.
Chasing Amy, exact same thing. But Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and this, they're, like, everything they do is so over the top and ridiculous. So that is the thing. Jay and Silent Bob have two modes. And it's part of the reason I love these characters. Yeah. Because they can be Looney Tunes, or they can just come in and say probably the funniest line and then walk away.
We cut to the food court. Shannon Hamilton fucking...
Fill this with Coke, no ice. Really? I would love to see them attempt to put ice in that little Dixie cup.
He grabs him, he throws him, punches him in the stomach.
Rather brutally.
Says he's basically gonna fuck Renee in her ass.
You stepped on the joke, you son of a bitch.
Well, uncomfortable. Place uncomfortable, you mean like the
back of a Volkswagen? That joke comes up so often. How did you fuck that up? God damn it.
Editing for time. This leads to
What's the point? Wait till we get to next week.
I know. Leading to an elevator scene.
Yeah.
Because him and Renee are about to get on the elevator. He tells T.S. to distract him.
Yeah.
He distracts him with some small chit-chat.
And then Renee and Brody...
He fucking tackles Renee into the elevator.
He picks her up gently. Tackle is a strong word. He literally, if you watch it again, he picks her up and moves her in. Like, she's not happy. This is not something she wants. But tackle is a strong word. Tackle implies violence. Well, he picked her up and walked her in, and then she's like, what the fuck are you doing? Because for a minute there, she thought it was Affleck.
Light tackle. Then the elevator doors close.
Apparently buttons don't work.
Forever!
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can put it on stop.
Because they're arguing.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back periodically to Shannon and T.S. and an ever-growing amount of people waiting for said elevator.
Well, you can stop an elevator where nothing will happen. But the second they get on the elevator and he pushes a button, it should work.
Yeah.
But I guess he maybe hit the stop button a little too quickly or something.
She attacks his libido.
There's no libido to attack.
Then he attacks her.
And then they just start fucking.
And then they doing it.
And then, of course, the easiest line possible where Affleck is just looking at T.S. going, you saw her get on, right? And he just turns, maybe she was getting off.
How does he assume that they're fucking?
He does not. I don't know. That line makes absolutely no sense. It's there for the audience.
Yeah. He gets up. He's super happy about it. And too little, too late. Too little! You said it was a good size.
The effort was...
But now that you mention it, when a girl says it's a good size, that usually means it's small.
Hey!
Just fuck this guy, so, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, but they've been dating for 5 years. It's not that weird that she fucks him.
So it opens.
You always get breakup sex.
He pulls in T.S. And again, quickly, Shannon can't
apparently
get to
the fucking button don't work. But then Ben Affleck does a move that he does in every fucking Kevin Smith movie, where the girl tries to grab a hold of him and he just goes, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know?
This is where we meet Gwen proper. By her getting elbowed in the tit.
Yes. Well, basically, so Brody... they run out, and then Brody's outside, and he's, checking his pulse, making sure he's okay, and then Gwen sneaks up behind T.S., and he elbows her in the tit, and then she just hauls off with her bag and just fucking hits him in the sack.
Well, she's been having a day.
By the way, that hit to the nuts there, that was full on.
Oh, She
hit him.
She nailed
it. Was an accident.
Mr. London right in them.
It was an accident, and she hit him, and he was down for 20 minutes. But when Kevin fucking saw the footage, that was the best shot, as you can imagine. So it's in the movie.
They have a conversation about Gwen and TS and...
Well, what first happens is that that TS sort of sees that Brody is still in love with Renee.
He's glowing.
I'm not glowing.
The only reason why I look anyways is because I just had sex.
I would have looked that way if I begged anyone in that escalator. Present company excluded.
Of course, he gets... Gwen also says he's glowing. Is this where the whole Rick Darris, you banged Rick Darris?
Yeah, well, they go into they go into a women's under things store.
Yeah.
Probably called like Panties, considering the way that this place works. And she's trying on underwear. And TS is like, what the fuck? You know there's a whole place you're supposed to do that in, right? And she goes, well... No, sorry, this was after, but basically, so they're having this conversation.
I would have made a sexy chick.
We're not there yet. She's having this conversation, and he's just like, fuck, I can't remember how they got to that point. But basically, she talks about like how she was a good girlfriend or something like that, and he's just like, oh, it was a costume party, something to do with a costume party, and he's just like, you mean the one where you banged Rick Darris on the pool table? I bet you no one remembers shit like that. And that's where Brody comes in. It's like, I would have made a sexy chick wearing women's underwear. And she's like, hey, Brody, do you remember that costume party? What, might that be the one where you bang Rick Darris on the pool table? How come only you guys can remember shit like that? And then that's where she's trying on the underwear.
Well, you can remember it's the only time that Smokey fucked the bandit.
Didn't I look just like Burt Reynolds?
Except for the mustache.
So she's trying on the underwear, and Brody's just like, they have a whole room for you to do that. And she goes, well, apparently this asshole wanted to see me naked so bad he busted in on me twice. This saves him the effort.
So you're happy then?
I don't know what that means, but Brody seems to, because he goes, oh.
Yeah.
Care to enlighten us, because that's weird.
Then Brody describes his relationship with Renee
which is like, have you ever slept with someone? Yeah. Slept with someone, not just fucked them on a gaming table. And then, TS is like, yeah, we slept together once, and that's...
She also said, like, I slept with many men. Yeah. Like, whoa, okay.
Well,
all right.
She seems like she gets around. That family. Oh, no, sorry, different character.
Yeah.
She plays a lot of the same characters, so it's hard to tell. Anyway, so Brody tells the whole story of, like, this is what it's like to date Renee. And he's like, do you ever sleep with somebody with their arm around? It's called spooning. Yeah, but, like, when you're trying to... You have to put your arm somewhere, and sometimes you put it over your head, but I can't because my shoulder pops out of socket. So I'm always trying to, and I actually understand this reference where he's like, I'm trying to find a way to sleep comfortably while still staying close to her, and she goes, and Brody says that's like a whole metaphor for an entire relationship, which there's a deleted scene where one of the takes they made him take out was. He basically goes, it's a metaphor for our entire relationship, jackass. The jackass is such a good fucking hit. It sounds so good, but they thought it was too mean.
Ah, well.
But
I like that girl behind the counter. I know exactly how he feels. Excuse me. And she runs away. In between those two scenes, we get introduced to Mr. Svenning and tells TS, yeah, fuck you. I don't want you dating my daughter. You're a loser. Get him out of here. He's really good. Michael Rooker is in this movie for like 20 minutes maybe, and he's fantastic.
He steals every scene because he's just great.
We get Brody and Shannon again. Is this where he beats her up? Is this where he beats him up? I think this is the Volkswagen scene.
Yeah.
This is after. It's just like you stay away from her.
This is where he takes off because this is where TS went to what's it called? He went to talk to Svenning, and then ran into Gwen, and then they have a conversation while they're about to find Brody, and like TS has the question of like, if we were such a terrible couple, why did we date so long? You had cable, and then they find Brody, and Brody's fucking lying in the candy section. He beat the fucking holy hell out of him because the original scene went on twice as long.
Oh, okay,
so he was beating the shit out of him.
Now, why does he tell Jay and Bob the Easter Bunny beat him up? And then immediately, as soon as they leave, which they're still within earshot, tells TS and
We'll get to it later, but Kevin is not aware when he's making this movie that people can hear things. We'll get to that in a minute.
But because he tells them the bunny did it, and then as soon as they leave, he tells TS and Gwen, Shannon Hamilton beat me up.
My guess is Brody, that Easter Bunny did something to Brody, and he wanted them to beat him up.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, if you tell Jay and Silent Bob the asshole from Fashionable Mail, the only other thing I can think of, no, because they would have already gotten fired. I don't know.
Yeah. Because they immediately go and kick the shit out of the Easter Bunny.
And that's a fantastic scene, too.
Because all the kids jump on them. That one
little kid who's just like, he's got this look on his face like, is, like, give that kid an Oscar. That is some looking. That's great. But yeah, so he tells him, like, you know, he told me that his whole plan was to, you know, screw my girlfriend in somewhere very uncomfortable. What, like the back of a Volkswagen?
How many times does that joke get hit? 3 or 4 times,
3 or 4 at least, yeah. Because we're not done yet, because there's at least one more I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Gil.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Dante's relative.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. But yeah, so basically, yeah, so Gwen has actually dated Shannon. So she's just like, yeah, this is what he does. So he basically finds women who are on the rebound, as Shannon said to him, like, I found women on the rebound, and I used that to screw them someplace very, you know, in an uncomfortable place.
So after the beatdown, Renee and Gwen talk to each other as Renee's getting ready. Or, no. When did they run into each other?
Right now, because she leaves. She splits because she's like, oh, I gotta leave. And T.S. is like, you're gonna leave him like this? I gotta go.
Yeah.
Brody, you gonna be okay? A couple pins in the hip, I'll be fine. So she fucks off, and then she goes and talks to Brandy. And it's just like, he's here. Well, I don't care. She goes, well, you know, and she does this whole thing about, like, how he was a really, you know, really good boyfriend. And she's like, but you were always cheating on him. He's like, yeah, but I was young. And
precocious youth.
Yeah, precocious youth doesn't mean I'm not regretful about it. So she's just like, well, if you want him, you can have him. She says, believe me, I might consider trying if he wasn't so hung up on you.
And Brandy's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is where T.S. also went to the bathroom, because he said the line of, like, I'm going to go hit the bathroom. Don't say hit! And then Brody's sitting there with some chocolate-covered pretzels.
And we get to the chocolate-covered pretzels.
Would you like a chocolate-covered pretzel? They're a little melty, but damn are they exquisite.
So he tells him about the stink palm, where he actually does it.
Because Rowdy Roddy wants,
TS.
says that Jared wants to see T.S.
I love how he can't then eat his pretzels.
Yeah.
So he has to, like, fucking...
Yeah, so if you know what you may not know what a stink palm is, and considering you may not watch this movie after we've told you every single line of dialogue at this point, a stink palm is where you take your hand and you stick it in your ass. You know? Because you don't want to punch somebody or anything like that. You don't want them to know what you're doing. So you take your hand and you stick it in your ass, because you're sweating and you're also nervous, so probably your ass smells pretty bad. Then you shake someone's hand. You say, hi, Mr. Svenning, how have you been? And then, you know, they have their hand smells like shit. And then, you know, you try and scrub for a week. With what? Like, soap will get that off. But whatever. But
won't your hand smell? Small price to pay.
Small price to pay for the smiting of one's enemies. So basically, yeah, he's like, he'll never be able to explain to his colleagues and family that he can't wash his hands properly. So this is apparently a big thing. So then Brody's done that, and now he can't eat his chocolate-covered pretzels. So T.S. is left, and then Brody's standing there, and he just sort of goes, smells his hand, and then fucking bolts after them.
Gets the idea.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Spenning, would you like a chocolate-covered pretzel?
Well, the weirder thing is that, again, this is part of the edit.
Oh, because like my neighbor.
Yeah, because, well, not just that. Didn't you ever find it weird? And I always did until I finally saw the longer cut. That he asks for fucking T.S. to show up, and then he just goes, you know, you wanted to see me? And then he just fucking cuts to this, Quint.
Yeah.
I understand. It's because in the original longer version of it, they have a whole conversation where he gives them a chance to just fuck off. Where he's just like, I don't want you here. Just go away. But he's still being persistent. And that's when he eventually gets to the point where he's just like, Quint, I accept the fact that you no doubt fucked my daughter. Which I feel like T.S. is not nearly as uncomfortable as he should be in that sentence.
You've wiggled your way into her panties at least once or twice.
And I'm sure once or twice in my own house.
While I was home. This is why Mikko Rooker's the best.
Yes.
Chocolate-covered pretzel.
That's where
it elongates it where he's like...
What ends up happening, so Brody's just like, hey, Mr. Svenning, and then he says, oh, if it isn't my neighbor. Which is another reference to him saying that he's his neighbor. And then, actually, in the original cut as well, he's apologizing. That's why he's shaking his hand going, I'm sorry I did that. That's what that close-up is. Because it's not the ring that they're focusing on, that's later on. And then he's just like, you know, like, what is that? Damn, would you look at that ring? What's that? He's like, It's 1969. Come